He was interesting and funny, but my overwhelming first impression was, what a baby. Which makes sense because he was only a few weeks old at the time. Well, that same impression has occurred to me many times since then. Not only because I was the older brother, but also because Eli was, from the outset, a more sensitive soul than I was. Maybe it was the older brother, younger brother thing, maybe genetics, birth sign, early family dynamics, who knows. Whatever it was, his engagement with the complex inner world of feeling and emotion has always been something of a mystery to me, being a rather pragmatic, rational person for a good portion of my early life. Let me put it this way. I liked AC/DC and Led Zeppelin. He liked Journey and Queen. And seeing as how descendants of the Pennsylvania Dutch persuasion, as we are, do not exactly excel in the expressing of inner emotional complexity, it was sometimes difficult to understand where he was coming from. And so, like a good older brother in the grand tradition of 1980s Cold War America, I just tried to beat it out of him. And for this, I have apologized, and he has generously forgiven me. Sorry, brother. Although my inability to appreciate his unique temperament probably created a good bit of friction between us growing up, 4 years is a tough age gap to navigate. It's a weird one. We were always able to connect over a shared sense of humor and a love of music. He's a funny man and one of the most tasteful musicians I have ever heard play. And he has turned me on to more hilarious pieces of comedy and great pieces of music than a younger sibling deserves to turn an older sibling on to. Not supposed to work that way. However, though it took a while for us to language and to finally understand each other and love each other for who we really were, and though sometimes that means leaving a good bit of space between us as well, we've been able to bridge our age gap, let go of the younger brother, older brother dynamic, and simply become brothers and friends. And that's a wonderful gift that I cherish. And I think over the years I finally managed to get my brother. His early emotional sensitivity was a natural indication. Opa!
Muzzle top!
Good.
So his early emotional sensitivity was a natural indication of the kind of vulnerability that comes with having a tremendous sense of personal authenticity and integrity. That's what happens. In other words, when you can't fake it or phone it in, sometimes the consequences can be painful. And Eli could never fake it or phone it in. He was real, even when being real might not have been the most advantageous thing for him to be. But today, I think it's one of his greatest strengths and one of the things I most admire about my brother. Sooner or later, I think we all question the wearing of masks and the playing of games that the world demands because it sabotages our sense of wholeness and the integrity of our spirit. And of course, we all try to find a balance between what we want to be and what we have to be. But Eli was never able to be what he wasn't, for good or ill. And while most of us postpone the struggle and search for spiritual wholeness and this commitment to radical self-honesty once we have the luxury of stability, Eli front-loaded this process and began it as a young man. In a way, he has lived his life backwards. Believe me, if as a young man you can't bring yourself to tell schmoozy half-truths to naive and insecure young women, or to kiss the ass of certain arrogant and incompetent teachers and bosses to get ahead, or buy wholeheartedly into the dubious values and behaviors of a society on the edge of a nervous breakdown, if you can't do these things, it can be a pretty bumpy ride. And there were some bumpy rides and roads on the way to this day, but these were the times that brought us together as brothers, and where you inspired me by showing me a sense of commitment to personal and artistic authenticity and integrity that continues to inform my life to this day. And during these bumpy times, as the de facto older brother, and therefore the more experienced one, all I could say, and I said it frequently, was, it all works out in the end. I said it a lot over the years, and it became a kind of mantra that, sometimes I believed in myself, sometimes I didn't, but I kept saying it. And today I actually kind of believe it. Because today, brother, it did work out in the end. Because today, you married the other pea in your pod, the other pickle in your barrel, the other poof in your john. The Rebecca to your Mort. Aaron Thurman. Now Wenger, you poor thing. And when I see you with her, I see you're most authentic, you're most real, you're most fearlessly honest, and open and maskless. And I'm so happy to be found. The first time I met Erin, I was painting in Steel City, and when I went down to the basement to get some paint, she was in the office doing lettering for the menu that hangs on the wall, and I immediately noticed two things. First thing was, cool, this chick is an artist. Second thing was, she looked at me really weird. And nobody introduced us, Eli. And so I went upstairs, and I kept painting, and there was a bunch of people working there that night, and I saw her in passing, and in group conversations periodically, and every time I saw her, she would look at me in this really weird way that, to be honest, I don't get looked at that often. It was a look of intense interest. Well, I was a bit bewildered and certainly flattered, but still no one had introduced us, so I just kept working, but I was definitely thinking to myself, who is this chick? Fast forward to the end of the evening. The final task that night was to hang a clock on the wall next to the stairway going down to the basement. But the only way to get to the wall was to set a ladder on this tiny ledge so that the ladder was straight up and down. So you have big wall, about 15 feet up. It should be a flat floor. Instead, it goes down to the basement. So you have no place to set a ladder because stairs. So we put a ladder on this little tiny ledge straight up. It was like three of us holding it. She climbs up on the ladder holding this big-ass clock and hangs it on the nail. And that was 2 years ago, and to this day, that clock is only correct half the year. Because no one else has had the balls to make that climb again. So that night, when she got down, we all kind of celebrated because it was scary. And that's when I saw her and Eli do this like crazy manic celebration jig together. And in a moment, I understood that all night she wasn't looking at me because she was interested in me. No, she was studying me because she was interested in Eli and she was doing recon. She was trying to get any bit of info she could on my brother because she was digging on him quite seriously. So, when I was getting ready to leave, Aaron was cleaning up downstairs and I had a moment alone with Eli and I pulled him aside and said, dude, who is this girl? And he said, Aaron. I said, she's a cool chick. And he said, I know. And I said, it feels like there's something going on between you two. And Eli took a deep breath and nodded and said, yeah, we gotta work some stuff out, but yeah. And then I said, put a ring on her finger. I can't take any credit for that because having met her only once, and seeing them together is so obvious that they belong together. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. And so today you did it, brother. You put a ring on that finger. Put a ring on that finger. You married a girl whose jig is as crazily beautiful and weirdly wonderful as your own, and I wish you a lifetime of dancing and prancercising together. You are the cutest couple I've ever seen. fact, you may even be too cute. The Animal Planet should stop filming new litters of puppies and kittens for its show, Too Cute, and instead just document the shit you guys do from 3 to 5 in the morning.
He doesn't know what to do with the microphone. He's very shy.
To paraphrase Jeff Foxworthy, if you're a couple who Facebook posts videos of you in your pajamas, wearing funny hats and sunglasses, with Photoshop radiating Valentine hearts coming out of your heads, while you sing cleverly goofy songs broken up by laughing fits and googly-eyed exchanges with each other, you may be too cute. And as much as I celebrate your union and love the fact that you have found your soulmate and someone who shares your sense of humor, aesthetics, values, poetic appreciation, love of animals, love of language, ability to be in the moment, etc., 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 I gotta tell you, it's kind of annoying. Seriously, you're making the rest of us look bad. So take it down a notch. Enough of the hats and the glasses, the hearts come out of your head, and the hilarious and beautiful songs. You realize how it makes the rest of us mortals feel? Chill the F out and stop being so mad. Just kidding. Keep on doing it. Don't ever stop. You guys are awesome. I love you both. Congratulations on hitting the lottery. To Eli and Aaron Wenger.
I got the whole thing.
Did you really?
That was awesome.
That was great. That was great.
Where do we go from here? I know.